lunchroom the other
See,
week.
there it is. Violence at NBC, GE.com. I mean...
Well, Allison should know.
What
do you
is
say
Internet
about Allison?
anyway?
Internet is that
Massive computer
right,
network.
the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what Internet is?
No, she can't say anything in 10 seconds or less.
At the start of the 21st century, the rise of the internet and its authority over businesses all throughout America became exceedingly apparent. Corporations realized that the easy access to business information via their websites helped bolster business, and the ease of access helped improve our economy throughout. Information became clear to more Americans, and it was highly accessible. Informed Americans were able to voice their opinions more freely, and technology ushered an era of knowledgeable Americans. Although the 1993 clip of NBC's Today Show may seem funny, it served as a stark reminder of how foreign of an idea internet was to many people across the U.S. Only 2 years later, in 1995, that year marked an extraordinary year of innovation for computer and internet markets. In 1995, Steve Jobs was able to create the first ever Macintosh computer. This was an important milestone because it was the first ever computer to have access to the internet. It is important to note that while the first computer was made in 1971, up until Steve Jobs' creation, computers served mainly industrial purposes like crunching numbers and working with algorithms. Metaphorically, the Macintosh acted as a bridge between the consumers and their knowledge on the internet. For the first time ever, surfing the web was plausible for all, even though the internet at the time was not very big. In addition to paving a path for new internet junkies across the country, the Macintosh was set at an affordable $300 and brought new technological systems to the country and new job opportunities in California. Many even credit Steve Jobs with giving Silicon Valley its glory. The second spike you'll see when it comes to internet usage would be in 1998, when the so-called dot-com bubble burst. The dot-com bubble was a period in 1998 wherein people began to realize that the internet was the next big thing. Thus, people all around the world and the US began buying obscure domains like diapers.com, cars.com, shoes.com, donkeys.com, pretty much anything they could ever think of. Eventually, when most of, if not all the usable domain names had been bought, many of the large companies at the time like Dell, Cisco, and IBM placed giant orders for domains and sparked panic amongst the investors. Ultimately, this sent the Nasdaq to a record low that had never been seen since the stock market crash of 1929. Of course, this didn't really have a direct effect when it came to the advancement of technology of the time period, but it did bring to light and into perspective the importance of internet for the people at the time.
Ease of access to news information was a very big deal to Americans, as this access ushered in an era of awareness for many Americans. People all over the country were exercising their rights to film police officers in fear of police brutality incidents, much like the Rodney King beating. The Rodney King beating occurred in 1991 and was filmed on a flip phone. An innocent man was brutally beaten by LAPD officers, and this was quickly blown up around the internet, speedily becoming extremely viral. This was a horrific incident that occurred and truly shocked the lives of many Americans throughout the states, inspiring the filming of police interactions at times. People became more aware of police brutality versus minorities, and this promoted a multitude of movements to counteract police being abusive of their powers, creating a veil of skepticism surrounding the police. As technology of handheld cameras improved, people became more aware of their abilities as many cinematographers. For example, people within the boundaries of North Korea began uploading videos of daily life to the internet, truly teaching people what life was like in the most secretive country on earth. On a lighter subject, mobile phones were able to connect people both in their small communities and on a global scale. Dating apps like Tinder became exceedingly popular because of the ease of access to finding single people nearby, which allowed people to connect in a non-traditional way. Other websites, such as Facebook, allowed people to connect and meet up from their childhoods. These advancements in technology and website engineering brought many people into the realm of the internet, and because of this, garnered business for online companies. The creation of YouTube allowed for a heightened sense of connectedness throughout the US and even the world. Ease of access to information raised awareness of current events, and people had become more worldly as they had more access to this information. Personalities transfixed the world, like Casey Neistat, who told stories through cinematography, or Vice, a news outlet that reported in places no one else would go. Not having to wait in line at your favorite coffee shop because of online ordering or having every single news outlet at your fingertips are just some of the major advancements that technology has brought forth throughout the 21st century. Making small and big changes alike transformed daily life for the better, allowed people to become more informed, and challenged previous generations' views of social interactions.
In conclusion, throughout history, economics have limited the possibilities of societal advancement. Looking back at historical timelines, ancient civilizations were able to construct primitive forms of technology that made life easier. Although the Middle Ages saw little to no true advancement in technology, it was not until the Industrial Revolution that sizable leaps forward were made in engineering. Yes, inventions like the camera and electricity were invented prior to that point in history, though they were stagnant innovations that did not mobilize entire economies or interconnect people. Most notably, the Industrial Revolution brought forth the advancement in transportation, which at the time was the beginning of a strong global economy. Not only for the first time were there links between domestic products and people, but the idea of globalization became a thriving force in the global economy. In the 1950s, Boeing released the Boeing 707 aircraft, which later became the flagship plane for international travel. Seemingly overnight, there were new markets for air travel. Fast forward to today, and the same concept is still in use. Planes still fly back and forth throughout the world, though the industry has grown by hundreds of millions of dollars due to improvements in airlines' digital communication. The United States Post Office is another example of the productivity digital communication can provide to companies and how they can transform a global economy. In the case of the Post Office, a rapid increase in technology led to an increase in the financial power for the government, considering the Post Office is a government institution. Likewise, the rapid spread of digital age has allowed companies like Amazon, Apple, IBM, and Microsoft to flourish, all of which make up sizable segments of Silicon Valley and contribute to large amounts of GDP.